These are America's most endangered rivers of 2025. Number 1. Mississippi River. Extreme weather and flooding threaten the river, and changes to FEMA disaster response could mean less support for communities in need. Number 2. Tijuana River. Pollution is choking the river, causing illness, forcing beach closures, and threatening the local economy. Number 3. Rivers of southern Appalachia. Extreme weather, flooding, and unsafe dams continue to threaten rivers and communities hard hit by Hurricane Helene. Number 4. Passaic River. Pollution, including dioxins and sewage, are harming river health and preventing communities from realizing the many benefits of a healthy river. Number 5. Lower Rio Grande. Drought and outdated management threaten this vital source of clean water and lifeline for people and wildlife. Number 6. Rappahannock River. Poor planning and wasteful water use are putting river health at risk, as well as the water supplies needed for homes, businesses, and agriculture. Number 7. Clearwater River Basin. Commercial logging and mining could devastate clean water and important habitat for trout, salmon, and other wildlife. Number 8. Susitna River. Road construction for mining could harm habitat for moose, bear, and caribou and contaminate sensitive water sources. Number 9. Calcasieu River. Toxic pollution puts the river and all of the life it supports at risk. Number 10. Gauley River. Pollution from coal mining threatens clean water and this famous recreation destination.
The Mississippi River flows over 2,000 miles through 10 states, with roughly 20 million people relying on it for water. A critical river throughout its history, its banks are the ancestral lands of many indigenous communities, and its river basin is home to roughly 70 million people, many of whom also work along the river. The Mississippi supports a shipping industry worth $400 billion annually, and its floodplain is vital to agriculture. It also drives a $25 billion annual outdoor recreation economy, supporting more than 400,000 jobs. Why is a river so important to so many, at the top of our endangered rivers list in 2025? Flooding is a life-altering challenge for people, industry, and wildlife throughout the basin, and is the most costly and common natural disaster across the United States. Decision makers in Washington, D.C. are debating changes to flood and emergency management that put the health of the Mississippi River at risk and jeopardize the clean water and safety of those who live along and depend on it. Increasingly frequent and severe floods have damaged homes, businesses, and agriculture, and pose an ongoing threat to public safety and clean water. In 2019 alone, the combined cost of flooding on the Mississippi and its tributaries was an estimated $20 billion, plus a dozen lives were lost. In addition to the loss of life and financial impacts, there are often serious damages to drinking water supplies, native plants and animals, and overall river health. Mississippi River communities require leaders at all levels to work together to prepare for, respond to, and recover from floods. Federal agencies like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, play an essential role in this work. FEMA supports states and local communities by producing flood risk maps, providing safe building guidelines, and helping flood-prone homeowners rebuild on higher ground. The Trump administration is currently debating the future of FEMA and could shift more responsibility and the financial cost for managing floods and disasters onto states and local communities. Rivers know no borders. It is essential that the federal government continue to be a strong partner and not leave states and local communities on their own to manage floods and other natural disasters. Core federal capabilities must be maintained and improved. including providing publicly available data related to flood risks, modernizing construction standards to ensure new buildings are resilient to flooding, and improving grant processes to help communities respond to floods faster. There is significant room for improvement in the administration and efficiency of these federal agencies. And as extreme weather brings more flooding to river communities, a more effective and efficient support structure is essential to helping communities prepare for, respond to, and recover from floods, while supporting a healthy and thriving Mississippi River.
Did you know that the Tijuana River is now named the second most endangered river in the United States?
This expansive watershed is a complex and beautiful area, steeped in rich cultural identities, economic value, and immense biodiversity. Unfortunately, for decades, hundreds of billions of gallons of raw sewage, industrial chemicals, and trash, nearly enough to fill the entire San Diego Bay, have flowed through the Tijuana River, spilling into the ocean, spreading illness, and closing our beaches for over 1,200 days straight.
And the problem is getting worse. Recent studies from UCSD and SDSU found that toxic gases are being released into the air from contaminated water, endangering communities surrounding the river valley,
impacting families, military personnel, and the entire coastal ecosystem.
We need federal action now. We're calling on the Trump administration to declare a national emergency for the public health and environmental catastrophe devastating the Tijuana River and the surrounding areas.
This declaration would unlock vital funding and resources to address this worsening crisis. Clean air and clean water are basic human rights.
Join us in protecting our oceans, rivers, and communities. Raise your voice. Please sign our petition.
Tropical storm force winds will stretch more than 400 miles, making it one of the largest Gulf storms this century, even eclipsing Hurricane Katrina.
North Carolina is cleaning up from the worst flooding ever on record for the state. More than 100 people are dead from Helene, a number that's still expected to rise.
The pictures don't do it any justice. It's like war zone.
When the storm hit, I think I was like everybody. I was totally overwhelmed by the scope of the problem. The French Broad River and our rivers and our tributaries have never flooded to the levels they flooded during Hurricane Helene. To see the amount of debris and trash and oil and gas and propane tanks and pieces of houses and businesses was really hard to see and really devastating. You know, every one of those bits of a house is somebody's home, you know, and every piece of a building that held a business was somebody's livelihood. Our Appalachian rivers are certainly endangered right now. They've been hit really hard by the hurricane. Our rivers generate a tremendous amount of economic activity, millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, into our economy. That's everything from the outfitters that you see along the river to the restaurants to the visitors. And without a clean river, those folks aren't going to want to go tube and boat and fish our waterways. And we're in this critical moment where we really need to clean our rivers now so they can be ready for folks to come visit when the summer rolls around. We're at a real inflection point where if we do the right thing and we act now, we can bring our rivers back to life. Call your members of Congress. Let them know we need funding to restore our rivers and make our region more resilient before the next storm comes.
The Passaic River has a history that goes back long before this nation was founded. The Lenni Lenape people considered the Passaic River sacred and essential for thousands of years. Their settlements revolved around the river. In the 1700s, Alexander Hamilton realized that the United States needed to become an industrial powerhouse, and his plans unfolded on the Passaic River near the Great Falls in Paterson, New Jersey. Sometimes called the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution, the Passaic River was literally the raw material that started New Jersey's manufacturing mills. Over time, the Passaic River has suffered from pollution, the worst example being the toxic dioxin dumped into the river from the Diamond Alkali plant, where Agent Orange was manufactured for chemical warfare in Vietnam. There have been many efforts to clean up the river over the years. including various EPA-led initiatives and legal battles to get the responsible corporations to cover the cost of the damages. Local partners are leading an effort to keep the momentum around cleanup going by piloting a variety of low-cost, community-led restoration techniques that are good for the ecosystem. We urge our government leaders, as well as the companies responsible, to reaffirm their commitment to restoring the Passaic River. This cleanup is long overdue, but if we work together, we can secure a better future for the Passaic River and the people who care about it.
The lower Rio Grande is more than a river. It is the lifeblood of South Texas, supplying drinking water to millions from Del Rio to the Gulf. The river is also a haven for wildlife, home to migratory birds, pollinators, and aquatic species that depend on its waters for survival. But today, the lower Rio Grande is in crisis. A human-induced mega-drought, outdated water management, and lack of investment have pushed this river to the brink. Less than 1/5 of its flows now reach the Gulf. The recent Minute 331 agreement created the first of its kind binational environmental working group to coordinate conservation efforts. But ongoing dam infrastructure issues, critically low reservoir levels, and underfunded conservation efforts show that policy alone is not enough. Funding is critical. We must act now to save the lower Rio Grande. Our drinking water, wildlife, and communities depend on it. The federal government must prioritize funding for conservation, water security, and infrastructure repairs. Without investment, this river and the millions who depend on it face an uncertain future.
"185 miles. The Rappahannock River, the longest free-flowing river east of the Mississippi, starts as a small stream in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It winds through the heart of Virginia to the briny waters of the Chesapeake Bay. The Rappahannock is the lifeblood of our communities, providing clean drinking water for hundreds of thousands of Virginians while sustaining wildlife, farmlands, and fisheries. It offers world-class recreational opportunities and supports the local economy. But right now, the Rappahannock is at risk. Increasing water withdrawals, rapid development, extreme weather, and droughts are increasing strain on the river. Without a coordinated plan, the rising demand for water, especially from booming industries and population growth, could drain river flows, threaten fish and wildlife, and jeopardize our water quality. Currently, there is no unified basin-wide approach to protect the river's future. If we don't act now, we could face a future where the Rappahannock runs too low to support the people and ecosystems that depend on it. The time to act is now. We must urge Virginia lawmakers and the Department of Environmental Quality to adopt a comprehensive, science-based water supply plan that protects the river for generations to come. Your voice matters. Call, email, or meet with your state representatives. Tell them to support a basin-wide water management plan. Demand that every drop taken from the Rappahannock is managed responsibly. The Rappahannock has given us so much. It's time we stand up and protect it. The river's future depends on you.
The stunning Clearwater River Basin in the Nez Perce Clearwater National Forest is known as Idaho's Noah's Ark for Chinook salmon, steelhead, West Slope cutthroat trout, and bull trout. Its cold, clean, high-elevation streams sustain fish populations even as temperatures warm. The clean water that filters through these old-growth forests spills hundreds of miles of rivers and streams. The North Fork alone provides 79 continuous miles of potable water and is one of the few places in the northern Rockies where anglers can legally fish for threatened bull trout. The South Fork boasts robust steelhead fishing and world-class whitewater. The basin is in remote north-central Idaho and is part of the ancestral and current homelands of the Nez Perce tribe, who are stewards of this land and these waters. The Nez Perce Clearwater National Forest has introduced a new land management plan that will relax restrictions on mining and dam building while expanding commercial logging. This plan could destroy this amazing wild place and pollute these exceptional streams. 700 miles of rivers and streams are at risk from unsustainable commercial logging, mining, and future dams, and we cannot let that happen. The Nez Perce Clearwater National Forest must strike a better balance to ensure that unsustainable timber harvest and other activities don't degrade the crystal clear water and impact the abundant wildlife, including elk, moose, black bears, and river otters. The time to speak up for these rivers is now.
Located in south-central Alaska, the Susitna River is one of the most pristine rivers in the country, flowing south from its glacial headwaters for more than 300 miles, touching portions of Denali National Park before reaching Cook Inlet. The Susitna River watershed spans more than 20,000 square miles and is home to an abundance of fish and wildlife, including 5 species of Pacific salmon and critical populations of moose, black bears, and grizzly bears. The river is a vital resource for Alaska Native communities and others who depend on it for salmon harvesting, tourism, hunting, and recreation. These activities generate thousands of jobs and millions of dollars in annual revenue. The proposed construction of a 100-mile road to natural areas of the Susitna watershed will open this amazing wilderness to destructive industrial activity, including mining and oil and gas exploration. The access road would cross over 150 streams, impacting hunting, fishing, and wildlife habitat. Additional mining, oil, and gas activities would risk contaminating the river itself, which supplies clean water for local communities and essential wildlife populations. This would, in turn, threaten the existing sustainable economies and livelihoods of commercial fishermen, local tourism industries, and Alaska Native communities. This year, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE, is expected to review permit applications for the West Susitna Industrial Access Road. We are calling for the USACE to deny all construction permits and reject federal funding for this project so road construction does not move forward, and we are able to protect the Susitna's irreplaceable fisheries, water quality, and communities. Please join our effort and help us influence the USACE decision to greenlight this project. Together, we can preserve the clean water, cultural resources, fish migration, and the uniquely intact nature of this treasured region.
For centuries, the Calcasieu River has been the lifeblood of southwestern Louisiana, a place where communities, wildlife, and history intertwine. It's home to beloved creatures like Pinky, the famous pink dolphin, and the families who depend on the river's resources for their lifeblood. But the Calcasieu River now faces a dangerous threat. Decades of chemical mismanagement, toxic waste, and pollution from industrial plants. It is no longer safe to swim. Fish are tainted with mercury and PCBs. Pregnant women are warned to avoid eating the river's fish. From devastating spills to years of unchecked contamination, the river and its communities are paying the price. But there's still time to change this. The EPA is reviewing pollution standards, but we must urge them to act faster. It's time to update outdated laws, demand safer standards, and protect our rivers for future generations. We can protect the Calcasieu River together. Speak up, hold polluters accountable, and be part of the movement to save America's rivers. Your voice matters. Together, we can make a difference.
The Cherry, Cranberry, and Williams Rivers carve through one of the wildest places in the East, sustaining an ancient ecosystem and feeding the headwaters of the Gauley River. But right now, one coal company is strip mining over 3,600 acres of this mountainous terrain and illegally hauling more than 100,000 tons of coal each year through the Monongahela National Forest.
What's so crazy about this is that South Fork Coal Company has self-reported more than 80 violations of the Clean Water Act, sometimes exceeding the legal limits by more than 900%.
Key to this company's ability to pollute is its practice of hauling coal through the national forest in violation of a federal ban on doing so.
I want to be able to come back to these places and show my kids one day instead of worrying about, is that ever going to be reclaimed? Is aluminum ever going to be absent from the system back to its natural levels? And people recreate in the water that they discharge into, and it goes to their public service systems, and they drink from the Cherry River, and people don't realize that what happens upstream affects them downstream, and when they turn on the faucet, you count on that being clean water.
South Fork Coal's illegal haul road in the National Forest is a major contributor to the company's water pollution violations. Now, the company is asking for an exception to the federal ban on mining activity in National Forest so it can keep abusing our public lands.
It's unbelievable how many people this river brings to this area. And I mean, obviously they got to eat, they got to stay somewhere. You know, the fringe benefits for the community are huge. But on top of that, it's like, where's your drinking water coming from? There's so many communities upstream of here, downstream of here. Like, yes, I don't like it that they're mining, but if you're gonna do it, clean up your mess, man.
The Office of Surface Mining, Reclamation, and Enforcement is accepting public comments on the use of this haul road. We have the power to demand that our national forest is not used for coal hauling, and we need all of us to comment and tell OSMRE to get coal mining operations out of our national forest.
Hi everyone, my name is Chantel Dominguez and I'm the Director of Community Campaigns and Engagement at American Rivers. I'm here today to talk to you about America's Most Endangered Rivers of 2025. I am so proud to be a part of the legacy of this report. For 40 years, we have released this annual report spotlighting rivers at risk. From pollution to flooding to extreme weather, the threats to our rivers and clean water aren't going away. And as you just saw with this year's list, no river from the mighty Mississippi that shapes our country to the remote Susitna in Alaska is completely safe from these challenges. And that is why we released this list, to give you the chance to make a positive impact toward the future of these rivers. After 40 years, we've had some great success stories. The Anacostia River that I'm standing next to right here in Washington, D.C. is a great example of that. It has been listed multiple times over the years for various pollution issues, but there are now plans to swim in the river again. Look, we know we still have a long way to go, and we aren't successful just because we put a river on a list. In order to save and protect these endangered rivers, we need everyone to step up and take action. It doesn't matter where you live or who you vote for. We all need rivers and clean water. So please go to mostendangeredrivers.org right now to help support the rivers on this year's list. With your help, we can make a difference for these rivers and the communities that depend on them. Thank you for everything you do for rivers.